Hello, welcome to or back to my channel. My name is Abby. If you're new here, I'm so excited you've joined us, and if you've been around for a while, you're probably wondering what the heck has been going on in our lives for the past, I don't know, long time, a year maybe. I am gonna make this video mostly for myself, but I'm gonna try to get better light. You know it'll be amazing if I make it through with no storage issue or low battery. So, but like I said, I'm Abby, and this video is going to be more like a sit down. I'm titling it "Reflecting on This Past Year," being too hard on myself and trying to find grace in it all. I have been in a place of craziness, busyness. Let's just state the most obvious facts here first. So, those of you that are old or new, let me remind you, I am a wife to a football coach here in Texas. I am a mom to 5 children permanently, and most recently I re-upped my title as foster mom. And this little bug is our latest little foster love, which he's fine. He can totally, oh, see, I told you, low battery. I don't want his face on camera, but he's good. He can see me, I can see him. So anyways, squirrel. We've been living in the newborn bubble for the past few weeks, which has been so nice and actually refreshing in a lot of ways. Like, I'm tired, but just, there's nothing sweeter than just celebrating a new life coming into the world. So, but I've been doing a lot of reflecting because a lot of you have reached out and been like, hey, are you still coaching for Optavia? Like, we haven't heard a lot from you in this past year. Like, what's going on? Did you give up? Blah, blah, blah. And I have been like super hard on myself about all of those things. Like, oh my goodness, I haven't been showing up well on social media, if people are wondering that. But the last year in our life has been crazy, and I'm not here to make excuses, but what I am here to do is to remind myself first and foremost what we've been through in the last year, and to maybe hopefully inspire someone else to recognize that it's okay and that it's part of life, that sometimes you're in survival mode and sometimes you're not thriving, and to encourage you that like thriving is possible, but sometimes there's just seasons of surviving, and that's okay. And so if I can encourage you in that, that's kind of like my hope for this. But I've been really hard on myself lately, kind of beating myself down for just like what I'm calling failure in different areas, which I coach a lot of people to health. So I think it's funny that sometimes I need to just like take my own advice. Isn't that right? But I have had like a whirlwind of a last year, and I am not where I want to be in my health at all, but it's something that I am working through. And we've also had a lot of other moving pieces in our life, which have kind of just been like one of those life happens situations. And I feel like you guys can all relate to life happens when certain priorities get put on the back burner because other things come up, and it's just like a muddled mess sometimes in the messy middle. So let's take it back. So we're in September. In November of last year, so like 10 months ago, I had major back surgery. I had an L5, L1 microdiscectomy. I was a college volleyball player. I threw track in college. And then obviously I carried my 3 biological babies, and my back just took a lot of damage from all of those things. And I had been dealing with chronic pain for like probably 9 to 12 months prior to having surgery. And my doctor made it sound like it was gonna be super easy surgery and I was gonna like recover quick. And oh yeah, I should have mentioned before that surgery, right? That was November. We adopted a baby who is now 15 months old in June of 2023. And I induced lactation to nurse our baby. So just in my own health, that was like setting my weight loss and kind of workout goals aside in a lot of ways to take the hormones to induce the lactation. So I was able to bond with him and nurse him for several months, but by the time I got to have back surgery, I wasn't producing, and there's no way I could have nursed him through that surgery. Like, I just couldn't have. So I stopped nursing, and he lived on donor breast milk for the rest of his first year and then switched to whole milk. But it was still hard on my body, and I would say that I gained 25 pounds from my maintenance weight while I was nursing. And so this is like health coach Abby just kind of laying it out there. For those of you that don't know, or like go way back to the old OG Brenton and Abby's channel on Wit Family Fit, we both lost 65 pounds back in 2021 following COVID. And we were able to keep that weight off for 2.5 years. Insert weight loss disclaimer here, results not typical, whatever. I'll put it in the description box down below for Optavia. But we maintained. And when I started nursing or inducing lactation, that was the first time I had gained any sort of significant weight back. But it was for a good cause, and I wouldn't change it for the world. I would go back and do it 10 times over. Like, it was so worth it for me. So I realized after physical therapy and injections and multiple different things that surgery was the only option for this chronic pain. Because as a mom of 5, there's no way in heck I was taking pain meds. Like, I just wasn't going to do that. Like for a long term, no way. So I opted for the surgery. Firstly, if you're considering it, it was worth it 100%. I have very little back pain now. Like, I'm doing so much better. It hasn't inhibited my life in any way. I'm able to do all the things that I used to be able to do with the exception of like lifting moving boxes, but that's fine. And it was so worth it. And my doctor did an amazing job. I'm a great success story. However, I would say that first 3 weeks post-op was like so much harder than I ever expected. And then like it was 6 to 8 weeks before I felt like myself again. After that 6 to 8 weeks, I've been great ever since, really. I've been super good. I go back to the chiropractor. Things are great. Diet Dr. Pepper, because mom life. So that's that. That recovery process from surgery, harder than I thought. Gained probably 5 to 10 more pounds. People were bringing dinner. It was great. That led us into the holiday season. I did pretty well. I did another like kick in January where I lost some weight. I was feeling pretty good. And my husband, for those of you that didn't know, was a head football coach in the state of Texas for 3 years, for the past 3 years. So we did not, we had an offer that we couldn't refuse to go to a different school as an offensive coordinator, not a head coach. So he decided to part ways with his current school and to get our kids to a different district where we could settle down and kind of raise them and hopefully keep some job security for the next several years. So we made that move in April. We bought a house, which was amazing. We were so excited. That's the first house we've ever bought. Also a stressful process though. And then we moved in the middle of the school year, and he commuted back to his old job, which was a little like an hour away, for all of fourth quarter. And my kids actually switched to go to the new district. So the kids and I were here, new district, he was commuting back and forth. That was a really challenging season in our lives just because the back and forth was crazy. We're like new to town. And I feel like I dealt with a lot of, kind of still do, like loneliness in not knowing a lot of people, really having no friends here, and just finding it more difficult to make friends than I remember it being in our previous moves. Like coaching wife life, you move. But I've been struggling with like irrelevancy, right? Because when we lived in our previous town, that was a town of like 25,000 people, had like 3,000 friends on Facebook from this town, constant getting like tons of engagement. I helped half the town, it seems like, get healthy. Like it was a lot of my clients were there. So to start completely over and to kind of be like gone to those people with like not a lot of engagement, like I kind of thought, oh, I'm still going to maintain these relationships. That's been really hard. It's been difficult to do. And there are some key few relationships that I have maintained, but for the most part, like we lost our tribe. And so we've been in this new town with no tribe, going through kind of craziness, and that's okay. God always provides. Like we do have a church that we're plugged into. It's small, but we love it. And so just like a lot of like change. And starting in the middle of that change, like in March, I actually had gotten back down to 150 pounds. I was like 5 pounds away from my all-time lowest. I was feeling great from a weight loss perspective. The weight was just like peeling off super easy. I was like helping lots of clients, but I couldn't kick this feeling of just kind of like anxiousness and just like ickiness. And I couldn't pinpoint what it was, but my cycles were also really weird. So I decided to go to my gynecologist for my annual visit. They ran a bunch of lab work and found out that my thyroid was really not okay. So they referred me to endocrinology, and I actually ended up having to have a total thyroidectomy on June 3rd of this year. So November, major back surgery. We majorly moved. I had dropped that 35 pounds. I was back close to my lowest. Then bam, thyroid surgery. And once again, super successful surgery. Recovery was fine. But I did not anticipate all the hormonal changes and the changes in just how my body functions and like all of the things. I was diagnosed with Graves' disease hyperthyroidism that was not going to be in remission because of the numbers, how bad they were. So I had no choice, really. I had to have the surgery. There were a couple different options, but like the only safe one for me really was surgery. So glad I made that decision. I would make it 10 times over. My surgeon was amazing. Nonetheless, recovering from surgery just after you move in a brand new town, and then dealing with the fallout of labs and all the things that happen like hormonally after that has been insane. My weight loss, when I went from 150 pounds to 185 pounds in that 60-day span. And I've been like able to get back down to like 175 and kind of sit there and fluctuate. But I know this sounds like I'm putting a lot of my worth in weight loss. Okay, I'm not trying to sound that way. I'm just trying to sound like when you have changed your life from surviving and feeling tired and icky and carrying too much weight to thriving and working out and fueling your body well and drinking the water and doing the healthy habits, it feels very icky to be in survival mode when you have to make that switch after years of doing the same thing and feeling good. So it's not even just all about the weight, it's more about how I feel. And so I say all that to say this, like, we have been through a heck of a lot in the past year. And then God just like, he provides. God provides. And we kind of had started before this thyroid thing happened. We had started the process of reopening our foster home, just feeling called to that ministry. And I will tell you that this transition from 5 to 6 kids has been the easiest transition of adding a child ever. This little baby is so sweet and so great, and we love it. And God has provided the energy and the love and the stamina, and we're doing great. We really are in that aspect. But we opened our foster home, we welcomed a new baby. And so all that to say, like, I've been through so much in the last year, but I've had a really, really hard time not being really hard on myself for not being where I want to be in any area, in my walk with the Lord, in my physical health, in my patience with my children, and as a mom, as a wife. I feel like our marriage has like gone through more ups and like downs in this last year, and like we're fine. We love each other, and we're so blessed to have each other, and we're very forward thinking and very like improvement focused people, both of us driven. So we've had a lot of conversations about like, okay, why have things felt the way they have? Like, how can we improve? Like, what do we need to do? But I think sometimes you get just caught in the trudgery of like everyday life, and you forget to date your spouse or to enjoy those little moments. And so I say all that to say, if you are someone that has followed along and you've seen the seasons of thriving and now you're seeing the seasons of surviving, I feel like social media so much can be a highlight reel, and you just think like, I could never be like that, or I could never do that, or she doesn't ever struggle with that. And it's just not true. Like, we all have our own hills to climb. We all have our own crosses to bear. And once again, I'm making this mostly for myself, but I'm also making this video to just help you to remember what got you to where you are, the circumstances in life like that have put you where you are today, and help you realize like if you're in a season of surviving, it's okay, you're not alone. Like, don't commiserate alone in that. So yeah, this is literally, I clicked start on the camera, and I haven't edited this. I'm not going to, like, this is just me talking, because I know a lot of people have questions and I don't owe anyone answers, but I think that, like I said, I just love to bring the real and the raw and even sometimes the ugly up on this platform, because I think we need real. I think we need connection, and I think we need to know that like we're not alone in things. And you know, it's interesting for me. YouTube, we really started YouTube like right before we moved, probably like 6 months before we moved to our previous town. And then like kind of ran it through that whole 3 years of living there. And YouTube really has become a social media outlet for me. I have a lot more followers on YouTube than I do Instagram or Facebook. And I feel like since moving to our new town, like Facebook has become like not irrelevant to me, but like people aren't watching my stuff the way they used to. And I'm like, well, why am I even posting? Like as a busy mom, it takes a long time to create content, you know, and like, am I even helping anyone? And so I really want to try to get back to this platform on YouTube because it doesn't matter where you live. I mean, my best friend, I met on YouTube. And she was just here celebrating my birthday with me. Stevie, I love you so much. But yeah, it's just been a crazy year and I've really had a hard time being hard on myself. So if you are a person that's hard on yourself, I get it. I get it. And my husband likes to remind me to extend myself grace and to just put one foot in front of the other and do the best I can and to recognize that I have a lot of balls in the air, a lot. And so if I'm not as consistent as I want to be in my habits, or I'm not as consistent as I want to be in my health, or I'm not as consistent as I want to be in my walk with the Lord, or my social media, or my marriage, it's okay. We're all just sinful humans living in a sinful world doing the best we can. And I think I'm gonna cut this off because it's been 16 minutes and no one wants to watch me ramble for longer than that. But that is where I've been. And I feel like we're climbing out of the newborn bubble a little bit. We still have a few weeks of it left, but I'm ready for routine. I'm ready for structure. I'm ready for commitment. I'm working on some, my post-thyroid, I mentioned hormonal stuff. I've been really, really anemic, really bad. So my lady problems have been kind of bad since my surgery. And so I'm having to eat a little bit differently, just simply from I need more iron and I can't keep it down. So I'm eating a little bit more whole foods as it stands, but I still want to lose some weight and feel better and inspire other people to do the same. So just bear with me. I'm gonna share the journey, and I think also on this platform, I have a passion to share for foster care. And I know they say pick a niche and stick with it, and you're gonna find kind of a hot mess over here. You're gonna find mom me, you're gonna find wife me, you're gonna find foster mom me, you're gonna find health coach me, you're gonna find our family, because all I know is how to be real, and all of those things are real parts of my life. So if you've hung on this long, thank you for watching. I'd love it if you'd give this video a thumbs up and subscribe, because I just want to bring y'all along on this journey.